You're watching ABC 57 News in high definition.
Time now, 5:57. You're headed out the door right now. Temperatures are looking pretty comfortable across Michiana. 50s will be back into those low 60s as we head 6 to 7 o'clock in the morning. So we are looking to get a little milder as we carry on through the start of your day. Probably not even going to need that jacket, but the sunglasses are a necessity today. We'll be close to 70 by 9 o'clock in the morning. Temperatures continue to rise as we go through the end of the day and really through the end of the week as well. Summer's back. More on that coming up in your ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Forecast. ABC 57 News continues right now.
Covering South Bend, Elkhart, and all of Michiana. This is ABC 57 News at 6.
It only takes just a split second to lose control.
3 people are dead after a head-on collision on US 31. Straight ahead, find out what police think is to blame. But first, new this morning.
Witnesses are speaking out after they say police shot and killed a dog in Mishawaka.
It's pretty harsh for a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old to hear a gunshot ring out.
I'm ABC 57's Eric Stelzer coming up my exclusive interview with the people who called 911 and how they say it all went down.
Good morning, Michiana. Welcome to ABC 57 News. I'm Jesse McDonough. Good news, folks. Summer is back. Let's turn to ABC First Warning neighborhood meteorologist Tom Coombs for a look at what you can expect as you head out this morning. Tom, I am just loving these rising temperatures.
Yesterday we were finally at or above normal. That trend continues today. Waking up with temperatures in the 50s and 60s right now up along the lakeshore. Still 61 St. Joe, Shoreham 58, Stevensville 55, Berrien Springs 55, and 58 in Bridgman. Pretty comfortable start, maybe a little cool for some, but that's going to change very quickly across the area. We take a look at the radar picture and everything is clear across Berrien County and the rest of Michiana as well. No rain out there, no clouds out there, a lot of sunshine today. It's looking pretty nice as we start out your day. Something we've been keeping an eye on, not a great concern, the possibility of fog. It's could have been showing up along the lakeshore. Right now, it's patchy at best, so no big concern for fog this morning. It's something we've just been keeping an eye on. But the big story will be temperatures. Finally feeling like summer, finally seeing above normal temperatures. More on that coming up in your ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Forecast. Jesse?
Breaking overnight, here's the scene of a motorcycle crash in Mishawaka. Right now, 2 people are recovering after officers say they slammed into a parked Jeep. Now, it happened around 9:30 last night on Lincoln Way East. Police say a man drove the motorcycle with a woman riding on the back of it. Both were rushed to the hospital. Officers tell us the driver has some very serious injuries. Now to a developing story that has animal lovers reeling this morning. We're learning new information about a dog shot and killed in Mishawaka. It happened just before 9 last night along the Riverwalk near Buter Park. For the latest, let's get right to ABC 57's Eric Stelzer. He's live at the Mishawaka police station. Eric, you had a chance to talk with a couple who first called the police on the dog's owner. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, Jesse, well, those witnesses tell me they saw a dog earlier in the morning. That dog wasn't being dangerous to them at all. They didn't think there was any problem with that dog until later on in the evening. That's when officers eventually shot that dog, they say, and they realized something was wrong.
Dion and Jennifer Collins were at the Riverwalk Sunday morning with their 5 kids. Eventually, they say they came across a group of men sitting right here. They claim the men were smoking pot, playing with what looked like a pit bull, and swearing in front of their children.
As we approached, we could smell marijuana in the air, and their language was real vulgar. And we see my niece standing over here in the corner, and we went to talk to my niece, so we stopped right here. As we were talking to my niece, I was telling her to go home.
Eventually, the Collins family also left, except they told the police officers about the marijuana.
We walked up this way to walking a little bit further, and I took it upon myself to call the police. The police said they'd have somebody come out.
After police got there, they heard 2 gunshots, and then they saw a group of men surrounding the dog.
It's pretty harsh for a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old to hear a gunshot ring out at a park. It scared them.
When I heard the gunshot, my first reaction was get my kids in the vehicle and my wife. Something happened when it was gunfire. You could tell automatically it was a gunfire.
Although this is the first time the family has ever seen anything like this, now they say they will think twice before bringing their children to the park.
It's a shame that we can't come to our parks, even in the last bit of summer that we have, to enjoy what we have, because we've got kids out doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing.
A police officer I spoke with this morning says he's going to be talking with the chief to gather some additional information about the shooting. He's going to give me that information within the next few hours, and we'll have that update on our newscast tonight. Also, our webpage, abc57.com. Reporting live in Mishawaka at the police department, Eric Stelzer, ABC 57 News.
New this morning, today marks the start of the trial for the man charged in the 2011 death of Barbara Shepard. Now, Mishawaka police found her body in an alley near Low Bob's Discount Tobacco. That's on the corner of Lincoln Way and Burkett Avenue. Joseph Weyer is charged with her murder. His trial is expected to start at 12:30 this afternoon in a St. Joseph County courtroom. And these 3 teens are facing felony murder charges in a deadly home invasion. They're set to go to trial today. In October of last year, police say Levi Sparks, Blake Lehman, and Anthony Sharp attempted to break into an Elkhart County man's home with 2 others. Now, the homeowner was inside at the time. He fired a shot that killed 21-year-old Danzel Johnson. Meanwhile, this 17-year-old pled guilty to felony murder last year. A judge sentenced him to 45 years in prison. South African Olympian Oscar Pistorius is expected back in court today. He will be indicted on premeditated murder charges in the killing of his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp. Now, today would have been her 30th birthday. Police say the double amputee track star killed Steenkamp in his home. He says he mistook her for a home invader. Now, the lawyer for Oscar Pistorius says the Olympic sprinter's trial will begin next March. And 3 people are dead this morning after a head-on collision on the US 31. The crash happened just before 2 Sunday afternoon. We now know that 2 of the victims were from South Bend. ABC 57's Jasmine Norwood was right on the scene after it happened, and she has that story for us this morning.
My heart just dropped to my stomach, thinking, not again, not again.
For Sarah Singleton, this scene is all too familiar. The teenage driver of this mangled blue van made it out alive. But the driver and passengers of this RAV4 were not so lucky. Police say this van was flying down US 31, going way over the speed limit. The driver crossed the center line and slammed into this RAV4. The RAV4 then spun out of control and hit this white Chevy truck.
You know, people need to be careful and obey the speed limits, because things like this can happen. And, you know, at high rates of speed, it only takes just a split second to lose control of your vehicle and cross the center line.
Jasmine Norwood, ABC 57 News.
Drivers expect more delays in Mishawaka today. Road crews are shutting down Merrifield Avenue for railroad repairs. Closures will take place from Lincoln Way East down to 5th Street. Detours will be posted, and work is expected to wrap up next Monday. And more of Michiana's students are headed back to class this week. Kids in LaPorte and Mishawaka will head off to school tomorrow. Meanwhile, Michigan City, Penn Harris, Madison, and South Bend schools open their doors on Wednesday. Now, as for Michigan students, you guys still have a bit of time to enjoy the beach and relax. You don't head back to school until September 3rd. For a complete list, you can always check our website at abc57.com. It's been 1 year since a 7-year-old was shot and killed in her Elkhart home, and police still haven't charged anyone in her death.
Every day it's just a constant reminder of what happened that night.
Why the family of Michiana Jackson say they aren't giving up hope just yet. Plus, we'll show you why having your back turned during NFL action on the field isn't necessarily the best idea.
Hit with warm temperatures as well today. We're heating up across Michiana right now in the low 80s. High yesterday. Wait till you see today in your ABC 57 First Warning neighborhood weather forecast.
You're watching ABC 57 News in high definition.
Welcome back. It is 6:08 in the morning. Thanks for joining us. The Indianapolis Colts make headlines, but it's all for the wrong reasons. Fox sideline reporter Pam Oliver finds out the hard way turning your back on an NFL field, even during warmups, can be quite risky. Now, come back to your TVs. You got to check out this painful throw here. Colts reserve quarterback Chandler Harnish was practicing throwing out routes when, boom, you can see he goes a little wide and slams Oliver right in the face with a football. Now, this was right before the start of the Giants-Colts preseason game. Fortunately, the veteran reporter did laugh it off even when they showed a replay during the third quarter of the game. I mean, it's bad enough you get hit in the face with a football, and then they have to do it in slow-mo.
I'll say it again. One thing I'll compliment her. One, she was positive about it. You got to laugh it off. Two, great hair day yesterday. Do you see the volume of that just kind of bouncing? I mean, you get hit with a football, and yet...
If it would have hit her in the head, the hairspray might have reflected it.
Yet everything just holding in place. So compliments to her on a good hair day, and not compliments on getting hit in the face with a football. So
good sport about it. Good sport about it.
It should still be a good hair day today. Not going to be too humid. We got some big news from everyone. We're going to be on B100 now. You get your ABC 57 first warning neighborhood weather forecast now on B100. I'm going to be live as we go into the next hour with Cody on B100 and all morning long. Exciting news